Logan. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Why I Love Volusia County, your local podcast spotlighting local businesses and local residents on what they love about being a part of Volusia. So today I'm super excited to have my guest Bobby with us today. Bobby, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
You got it, Macy. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Of course. Well, Bobby and I met not too long ago, but he shared that he has a lot of experience with podcasting and radio and all of these really cool things. And we didn't get to talk too long, but I was like, I feel like you just need to be someone who's on my podcast. So I'm just so excited that you're here. And I'll kind of let you share your story a little bit. But why don't you kick us off and tell me a little about your journey, even in being in Volusia and coming to Volusia?
Yeah. So I originally grew up in North Carolina. I was a outdoor bum. So I was a ski bum, a whitewater rafting instructor. It was just a totally different life. Wilderness sports, I guess you could say. I ended up finding my way down in Orlando due to a relationship, and you want to make things work and you want to travel. So I traveled with, and we invested. After being with, I was a commercial banker for about 20 years, which means, look at my face, it's like I started when I was three, right?
Yeah.
But I was in banking for 21 years. And during the course of that time, I had an opportunity to launch a new department. Interestingly, I was engaged at that time, and she lived in Daytona. I lived in Orlando, and we were trying to figure out between the two of us whose hometown are we moving to, or are we picking a brand new one and starting over somewhere else? And out of my company of about 30,000 people, they selected six people to launch a new project. And I remember conducting my interview, feeling pretty good about it, and then getting a good news, bad news talk from the hiring manager saying, good news, we're going to offer you the position. Bad news, you have to move to Daytona Beach. Does that work for you? And I thought to myself, well, that's a question answered that they didn't know I was asking. So we kind of followed the signs as a couple. I took the job and moved to Daytona very quickly. As a matter of fact, I stayed for a few months with a couple friends to get staged and get in the right place and get all set up and everything. And incidentally, it was actually the place I stayed used to belong to the mayor of Daytona. It was this big 14,000 square foot house at the corner of Bellevue and Ridgewood, I believe. So it was right there next to the old Haynes School building, which has a lot of history. But that's how I ended up in Volusia County, was actually making that job transition and, following my heart, so to speak.
That's so cool. I feel like
Yeah.
like every time I ask that question, whether it be Volusia, St. Augustine, Flagler, there's such a
Mhm.
big timing element, which I know it's like, yeah, of course, but it's so funny. I think more stories than not, it's like, yeah, we were thinking about it, or we had this question and we wanted to for a while, but everything just opened up automatically and the path was paved, and then
Mhm.
there people are now in Flagler for many years, and I think it's the coolest thing ever to just hear about all of the ways the universe kind of listens to us when we want it to. Obviously things happen, but I
Yeah.
think that's so cool.
Yeah.
So you've done some really cool things in Daytona, which has kind of led you to your position here, which is a little bit new. But of course, with all of your history and experience, that's really brought you here. Do you want to talk a little bit about all the things that you've done about that?
Sure. So, 21 years is a long time to spend in any career, especially straight out of college. I've been very loyal in a manner of speaking to, one particular company, and began working in the mailroom. Ended up as a vice president in commercial banking. So it was a long walk up the staircase, but it landed me in a pretty good place as an adult, I guess you could say. And so in this stage of my life, I have, along the way come up through a couple programs. I had an opportunity as a community member here to participate in what's called Leadership Daytona. I was in the 34th class, which anyone else who attended that class would know that we were the best class ever. And through that leadership program, which is very much part of like in the same structure as like Leadership Florida or any of those other major programs, I got to meet a ton of people, just really connect to the community, get integrated. We worked on a really awesome project for the Museum of Arts and Sciences for Hyatt Brown. And then during the course of my time in my career, around the exact same time, I went through Harvard Business Leadership, which was a really, really great program as well. Celebrated my 20th year last year in June. And this year, my 21st year, I started asking some questions about like, we all climb ladders, but like, is your ladder propped up against the right tree? Because is the fruit at the top the one that you want? And I realized that instead I like apples. I would much prefer oranges. So I went to work for a small business, like a local business. I left corporate America and started working more in the entrepreneurship space. So the way that I found BoltzLegal, who's my current employer, was actually really, really strange. It's a fun story. I moonlight as an audio producer, so I do soundtracks for film, commercials, video games. I do a lot of voiceover, coming this summer, just kidding. But I do a lot of voiceover and other things, and had a couple opportunities to work for Brooke as a 1099 doing my side hustle. And over time, over the course of a couple years of working together, conversations unfolded. And it became very evident that, I had a skill set that might actually be great for me to be able to leverage more independently. And at the exact same time, bring a bit of a boost to the presence of the firm and be able to, express those capabilities to a larger community. So my aim is to, inside the firm, I'm what you would call a media manager, which just means I do all the fun stuff, but I also do have a tremendous sense of personal responsibility to grow the presence of the firm here in Volusia
That's so
County.
cool.
Yeah.
That's super awesome.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, it's kind of going back to the timing we were talking about like 2 seconds ago,
Mhm.
is that when you start being more open to asking those questions in the first place, the doors open in ways that you didn't even think were possible like a few months
Right.
ago.
Mhm.
Like I was just talking to, Kelly Moore from the Port Orange BNI. We were talking this morning, and I was telling her that, for podcasting, it was something that a few people had said some things, but I didn't really believe it until, an opportunity came up where someone's like, "Hey, do you do anything? Like, can I hire you to do this?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, sure, okay." I guess that answers my question. I didn't even
Yeah.
see it coming. I didn't plan for any of this. And that's really
Right.
put me on that path that I am on today. And I'm super grateful and super happy about it. But it's one
Mhm.
of those things where it's like, I was like, yeah, no one cares about podcasting that much. But the
Mhm.
more that I learn about it, I'm like, oh, people do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knew?
So I
Um,
currently produce 4 shows privately, and then for Bolts I produce two and a half because the half is me firing up something brand new. Uh,
cool.
so that said, about to have 7 shows under my belt. It's very daunting, but there is absolutely a market for podcasting. So I would encourage, whatever direction you're going in. The world is wide open. I will tell you, there's one YouTube article that I love that starts with "No one is looking for your podcast."
Hmm.
That's the title of the video. And every time I'm ever talking to a new client that I do podcast work for, I always show them this video because there is such an opportunity for someone to consult and help someone learn all of the things that if you learn them organically just by saying, "Hey, I'm going to press record and I'm going to listen to myself talk and then I'm going to post up the episode," you've missed your window on so many things. So just having that consultation, being able to launch somebody correctly, aggressively with the right strategy, the right backlog of episodes ready to go, the right media, all of that is just so, so key. So, I mean, kudos to you for finding opportunities and being able to generate them. And I'm
Yeah.
eagerly watching your success as it
Thank you.
increases.
No,
Okay.
that's so kind,
Yeah.
and I appreciate, you're obviously an expert in this field as well. So it's great to hear something, and I also thought it's really funny that, you've been doing this for a while, but you never really thought of it as maybe your full-time job or, the main stream of income. And I think it's so funny that we have all these skills under our belts and we go, oh, no one wants them. It's
Right.
fine. It's not special because I'm doing it, If I can do it, anyone can do it. But
Right.
that's just not the case. And
It's not true.
it's
Mm.
not. And talking to people, and it's not like a bad thing, like, oh, I can do this and you can't. But it's like someone goes, oh, I wish I could do that like you. And I'm like, you can. Like, I want to help you with that
Yeah.
because I feel like if I can do it, literally anyone else can do it.
Yeah.
So that's really funny.
Yeah.
What other being a part of Bolt's Legal, obviously you're pretty new in it. Where can people find some information on learning more a little bit about the firm here in Daytona?
There is a boltzlegal.com. And the firm is actually located in Oviedo,
Oh,
which is kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like southwest
yeah,
of
it's like,
Orlando.
yeah,
It's kind of in the woods, but right on the edge of Metro. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very strange. You cross one road and it's like the sticks, and then you cross the road and you're in suburbia. So it's like, it's very, very weird. But we're close enough to Orlando that, you can do business in Orlando, but also really close to like Altamont, whatever, if clients ever need to come by. It's not a long drive for anyone here, really. I commute twice a week so if I can do it, anybody can do it. But as far as finding more information, I would recommend boltzlegal.com. The two areas that Boltz Legal practices well, there are more areas, but the two prominent areas would be homeowners law, which is any time you feel like something might be related to your insurance on your home. And you feel like you're getting ready to engage in some sort of battle of epic proportions. You don't know what you're entitled to. You don't know if you have a claim. You don't know if you have a case. There's a lot of don't knows in there. So I would encourage an early phone call, just to map it out, and we'll help you discover if there's opportunity there. And then the same exact situation applies. Call early before you talk to your insurance company about personal injury protection as well. And that's automotive stuff if it's automotive stuff, but it's also, injuries on premises if you're somewhere and something happens that you didn't expect or didn't deserve. Then those are
yeah,
conversations we should have with you too.
definitely making sure that you guys have a consultation and check out what makes the most sense because there are a lot of things that thankfully we don't know about when it comes to these things. Thankfully, in the sense of
Hmm.
hopefully we don't have to experience them.
Yeah, you don't want to learn these things
But
firsthand, but sometimes you do.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you do. So I'll make sure I have all that information in the description. People can click, copy,
Yeah.
paste, check it out a little bit easier. I definitely recommend. But Bobby, thank you so much for the time coming
Oh,
on,
my
sharing a
pleasure.
little about your story. This has been so much fun. And you've just done so many cool things. So I'm super honored that you took the time today. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Macy. Thank you.
Of course. And to everyone watching, I really appreciate you as well. And I'll see you next time.